thank you guys for tuning in. A long-awaited podcast. Matt, again, here with Brock. It's been a while, but how we doing?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, like you said, it's been a while. Miss doing this. Work schedules, man.
Yeah, conflicting schedules, but we're back on it. Hopefully we get back to doing being able to do a regular episode for you guys. But for those of you first-time listeners, this is the Jock Talk WINC podcast. Matt here in South Central, I guess it's considered, Wisconsin. Brock is in
Southeast.
Southeast North Carolina.
The tip.
The tip.
Yeah, like the the last cities in North Carolina before you hit South Carolina.
All right, yeah, that's right. All right, big game today, obviously. Both repping the Packers jersey. Brock he's a good follow on the old Snappy Snapchat. He unfortunately did not get the Packers as the game of the week. He got the pleasure of seeing Tampa Bay and the Saints. I was able to watch most of the Packers game at least.
I was expecting out of that Tampa New Orleans game high scoring. Boy, was I wrong.
It seems like that's been the case all year when we've been picking someone playing the Saints to be the high-scoring game of the week. It's the Saints and the Giants earlier this year. I believe it was the Saints and the Chargers, and they're just letting us down. But
it was a good game.
If you guys have been listening to us since the beginning, you know that Brock and I both picked Tampa Bay to make the playoffs. Brock picked them to win the division, which they still have a very good opportunity to do, depending on how these last couple weeks of the season go.
Yep, since Atlanta won today.
And they won big.
It's the Rams, the Jeff Fisher Rams.
The Jeff Fisher extension Rams.
Yikes.
Tied for most losses as a head coach in the history of the NFL.
Yeah. But Tampa Bay is tied for first right now. They got the last wild card spot also. So I mean, our pick for them making the playoffs looks pretty solid.
Absolutely. There are a lot of really hot teams in the NFL right now. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys, who currently are actually playing right now against the Giants. The Giants have been playing pretty well. The Packers have been playing pretty well these last couple of weeks. But I mean, you have to throw Tampa Bay in there. The Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, they got a big win this week. Big win this week against the Broncos.
Absolutely. So there's a bunch of teams who are playing really well these last couple of weeks. But being the Green Bay Packers have been playing well these last couple of weeks. Let's start with them. So since we last did an episode, was it after the Titans game or after the Colts game?
I believe it was the Colts game.
So the Packers, since the last time we've done an episode, 3-2. The defense the last 3 weeks, 10 points this week, 13 points given up last week, 13 points given up 3 weeks ago. So you go from giving up less than 14 points a game in 3 straight, but before that you look at it, 42 points, 47 points, 31 points, 33 points. Yeah. The Packers defense is rolling. I know you tweeted about it earlier, but the turnover margin today was absolutely
+6.
Phenomenal.
+6. I mean, our guys, granted, there was a couple balls that Russell Wilson, it wasn't his fault. No. One hit off Baldwin's face. You can't.
As Packers fans, we're used to seeing that from Aaron Rodgers, the receivers having the drop season, you know. Yeah. It was nice to see it go the other way.
Yeah, but other than that, there was a couple really nice plays. Demarius Randall coming back out of nowhere to get that interception.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was wide open. There was a couple really nice plays for our defense this game. I saw the ending of the game. Got to see a lot of highlights. There was a lot of highlights for the Packers this week, offensively and defensively. So it was nice to see for the third straight week our defense playing well. A touchdown came kind of in garbage time, so you could really say we gave our starters pretty much gave up 3 points.
Listening to the radio, I got to watch about half of it, listen to about a quarter of it, and I missed probably about a quarter's worth of the game throughout at random periods of time. But Wayne Larrivee and
Larry McCarron.
the rest of the Packers, and Larry McCarron, thank you, had an interesting stat. I don't know if you've heard this one. The last, I believe it was 95 games, dating back to early 2011. The Seahawks have not lost a game by more than 10 points.
Wow.
The Packers beat them by 28 today. Not only does that say something about the Packers, I mean, I know, especially after the Fail Mary and the blown onside kick, we've learned to hate the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Love Russell Wilson. Hate the Seahawks. They have been one of, if not the most steady teams outside of maybe the Patriots in that time, and that's just a ridiculous stat of 95-ish straight games with either a win or not losing by more than 10 points.
Yeah, that's a testament to Pete Carroll, really. He's got that defense playing well. But also, how much is it a testament to one of the biggest losses for the Seahawks and Earl Thomas being there that whole time? That he is a huge field general. He gets everywhere and where he needs to be, and he is a playmaker, ball hog, hard hitter. He is one of those safeties that when he's in the backfield or guarding defensive backfield. Thank you. Anybody would love to have him on their team, conducting the defense from the back there, and he sees the field so well. So this is the Seahawks' first game without him, and you can see he was missed terribly, and how much Aaron Rodgers torched that defense.
Yeah, I mean, it showed from the one of the big plays of the game that I missed. It showed on the first drive.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think that if Earl Thomas is in there, Devontae Adams, he probably still makes that reception, but he probably doesn't score on it.
No.
Earl Thomas he's got the instincts and the ball hawk abilities, like you said, but Aaron Rodgers, he dissected the Seahawks defense today. He did leave the game early in the fourth quarter. I'm willing to bet, and I'm sure this will come out in the next couple of days or it probably already has.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a close game, if the Packers were losing up by a field goal, Aaron Rodgers would have finished that game there's no doubt in my mind about that. But being up by 25 points at that time with, I believe they said it was a calf injury that happened because he was overcompensating for the hamstring injury that he had that originated last week or the week before that. But I don't think it's anything serious. But it's one of those things where if we can have Aaron Rodgers stay in the pocket, not have to extend plays as much as he has these last couple of weeks, or not be the team's leading rusher these last couple of weeks, it's going to be huge if the Packers can find a way into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the one consistent thing I guess you could say we've had a decent running attack, like throughout the game, a number of different players getting touches in the backfield. What was it? I think it was a couple, if it wasn't last game, it was a game before, where we saw a full house backfield out of the pistol set. We saw some ridiculous sets out of the Packers, which I loved. Don't get me wrong, I loved seeing it because it was something different. It was a different play calling. Mike McCarthy switched it up, and Aaron Rodgers again dissected the defense and played a phenomenal game. And Aaron Rodgers, ever since that last loss that we took 3 weeks ago, and he said, I think we can win out. I think people got to start believing in what Aaron Rodgers says.
Absolutely.
Because he says, relax. He goes on an epic tear. He says we could win out. So far, so good. And if you look at the remainder of the schedules, it looks favorable. We need it, and we need some help.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, let's look at the standings. But before we get to that, Aaron Rodgers today, 18 of 23, 200-plus yards, a couple of touchdowns, no interceptions. So just to clear up what dissecting means, That's a box score in the dictionary of dissecting the Seahawks defense, who
was known
for
for
the last couple weeks.
known for the pass defense, known for
Absolutely.
defensive team, and he dissected them. Word of the day:
So
dissected.
Looking at the NFC standings, the Cowboys already clinched playoff berth. I believe they will clinch.
They clinch what?
They will clinch first round bye with a win today.
Yeah, I believe so.
Their magic number is basically 1. If they if they win today and then lose the rest of their games, they would finish with at worst the same record as the Lions, but they have the head-to-head win over the Lions. So looking at the NFC standings, it's Cowboys, Lions in first places in their respective divisions, and then Tampa Bay and Atlanta tied at 8-5 on top of the NFC South.
Yeah.
So the Packers, like you said, they do have some work to do. They do still have a shot to win the NFC North. It's a very long shot, but the way the Lions have been playing decent, they're 9-4. It's hard to say that they've been playing good considering they've been trailing in the third quarter or later in 8 straight games.
Yeah.
The Packers are 7-6, tied with the Vikings. The Vikings do have the head-to-head so far, so it'll be key for the Packers to win against the Vikings. I believe the Packers will have the better divisional record, which I believe is the second tiebreaker if it would come down to the Packers and the Vikings. However, we have the Giants ahead of the Packers still at 8-4. The Redskins ahead of the Packers at 7-5-1. And then the NFC South, whoever does not win that division, currently at 8-5, still ahead of the Packers as well.
I'm just going to quick correct you real quick. The Lions have not played the Cowboys yet. They play the Cowboys in 2 weeks.
That's right. Thank you.
Monday night, day after Christmas. So,
for some reason, I just combined the two teams who always play on Thanksgiving and mashed them together. So thank you for.
If you look, I'm looking at the Lions' last 3 games of the schedule. They can easily lose out. Easily. They got the Giants next week at the Meadowlands.
I would rather see probably. It's tough because the Giants are ahead of the Packers too. If the Giants win tonight, they'll have the same record as the Cowboys or as the Lions. So with that, I think it's a pick your poison. Do you have the Lions win and increase the divisional lead, or do you have the Giants win and increase the wild card lead?
I don't think we need to win the division to make the playoffs. I think that's like our biggest hope. I mean, we have to win out regardless. But to get help, I think the Lions, if the Giants beat them, okay. Cowboys, we need the Cowboys to win out. Cowboys are whatever right now. They do not affect us. But they can help us by beating the Giants today.
Exactly.
And even if the Giants lose next week against the Lions, it puts us up again if we win. And then Cowboys come in, or Lions go to Dallas and lose. That's ideal also. And then we have the Lions at home on New Year's Day, which I think this is the ideal situation if you're looking at it as a Packer fan and looking at first place Lions. You could see 3 losses out of there, and I would not be mad about 3 losses.
You mentioned the Cowboys. Looking at the Cowboys have Tampa Bay next week and Detroit the week after. The Cowboys would be doing us a huge favor by winning both of those games and winning tonight.
Yes, definitely. I mean, Cowboys, as much as I know I hate them,
yes.
They could be our biggest. We might be their biggest fans these upcoming weeks to help us make a playoff run. We need help, and as far as it's looking, the Cowboys don't look like. Let's look at their remaining schedule. Because
Tampa Bay, Detroit, and then Tampa Bay, Detroit, Philadelphia are the Cowboys' final.
Those are
games.
3 very.
The last
capable
game,
wins.
At Philly after their hot start, they're
Yeah,
not officially eliminated from the playoff race, but they're out of the playoff race.
Oh, definitely. So, I mean, at Philly, that's not really a game that affects us. So, hopefully, if they win the next 2 weeks plus tonight, I think, and we take care of business, I think we will be fine.
I'm glad you brought up we take care of business. Talk about what we need other teams to do a lot, and that's what you're going to hear. You'll hear a lot about the Packers on national television this next week or so. We need to take care of business. Looking at the Packers' last 3 games, at Chicago. Yes, Chicago is a bad team this year. They have been a bad team a couple of the last years, but
they have looked good.
They always play us tough. Matt Barkley looked very good today. If it wasn't for a couple of really, really stupid holding calls on that offensive line, the Bears could have beaten Detroit. We have against the Vikings on Christmas Eve at Lambeau. And then we play Detroit on New Year's Day in Detroit. So, at the very worst, being a pessimist, if I was a pessimist, the Packers win 1 out of those 2. I don't think there's any way they lose to the Bears. Being an optimist and a realist, at worst, the Packers go 2-1. At best, they go 3-0.
Well, clearly, that best they go 3-0.
At either 9-7 or 10-6. 9-7 probably not good enough to make the playoffs. 10-6 maybe good enough to make the playoffs.
If we go 9-7, we have to have a lot of help. But like you said, we can't have depend on other teams to lose for us.
Exactly.
We need just to go out and go 3-0 and roll into the playoffs and have a hot streak. Just like they're comparing this team to the Super Bowl running team in 2011.
Injuries. Hot run at the
hot
end.
Run. It's looking like exactly the same.
Did the Packers have Jermichael Finley for their Super Bowl run?
No.
Well, he was injured, but he was on the team.
He was injured. Yeah. He got injured
Jared
week
Cook,
4.
Injured athletic tight end. What?
We were down. Who was our running back?
Was it Ryan Grant? No.
No, he got hurt that year too.
Was it James Starks?
I don't think so. I don't think he was here.
He's old.
Is he? I don't even know. But
Hey, I think that if the Packers get there, outside of the Cowboys, right now in the NFC, outside of the Dallas Cowboys, the team that nobody wants to play is the Green Bay Packers.
Oh no, I would definitely not want to play especially if they're going on a hot streak, 6 straight wins, going into the playoffs. It's January. It's cold wherever you play except Dallas. But
let me ask you this. There's been a small wrinkle. This is almost a pop quiz. There's been a small wrinkle, mostly towards the end of the game, a little bit of garbage time. Small wrinkle in the Packers' offense. Think Wisconsin Badgers.
The PV sweep.
The PV sweep. That's right. Jeff Janis scored on a 19-yarder today. I know last week he got
Did they steal it from him? They might have stolen it.
I think Mike McCarthy might be hitting up Paulie Paul Chris, DJ Paulie C, as I like to call him.
Oh boy. You get to watch the end of the game with Carlos at least?
I think I was going to the grocery store when that happened, but I heard it on the radio. But yeah, I got home and I got to watch most of the fourth quarter. I think I got home at the end of the third quarter, but I got to listen to it. Richard Rodgers, I heard his big catch and he got popped at the end of the play. I haven't seen it still, but I heard it on the radio.
Yeah, it was quite the hit. It was high. They got a flag on it, but it wasn't surprised he caught it.
Yeah.
I will say that. That was a hit. I will say that. That was a hit.
Absolutely. So, the 2 things or the 3 things that you've been mentioning in our picks this year, these last couple of games, well, especially today, but the last couple of games, pressure on the quarterback. Today, I don't even know how many sacks they are. Jaron Elliott had a big sack. I'm glad to see him getting more playing time along with Dean Lowry.
2 sacks in consecutive games.
Yes. So sacks, obviously turnovers. Turnovers is always a big game or a big turning point. The Packers have not been great at forcing turnovers this year, but what was it, 6 today?
Plus 6.
5 interceptions and a fumble.
Yep, that fumble came late,
Yep.
Garbage time, but hey, it's still a fumble.
And then Devontae Adams has
Emergence.
Outside of the first couple of games when he had fumbling issues and still a little bit of his dropsies, Devontae Adams has emerged as, I would say, the Packers' number 2 receiver. I think Randall Cobb for me is still the Packers' number 2 threat outside of Jordy Nelson as a total package, but as a pure receiver, Devontae Adams has absolutely blossomed, and it's exciting to see that he's finally take out the slump from last year, and he's definitely stepping up.
Yeah, you mentioned the sacks. We had 3 sacks. So it doesn't seem that much, but in the sacks,
Pressure.
but 9 QB hits, 7 pass deflections, 5 interceptions. So I mean that's a testament to the guys up front. Really, if you look at it, that's a lot of QB hits. Dayton Jones, huge game, pressuring the quarterback. 5 QB hits, 5 out of the 9 QB hits by him. So it is really that the guys up front. Julius Peppers has to play more. He didn't have the big tackle games or big effect on plays, but he's there. He's strong. He moves the offensive line. And I think right now this is the best time for our young Packers defense to start getting healthy and start playing better. As you look who came back, Quentin Rollins is back in, Demarius Randall's back in. Like you said, Dean Lowry playing well. Ladarius Gunter made a couple big plays.
I will say the first drive of the game was I saw the very first drive by the Seahawks, and I was thinking, to be completely honest, here we go again. Because that first drive by the Seahawks was a methodical drive down the field, punch him in the mouth, go after the weaknesses on the Packers defense. And that's what they did that first drive. But Packers turned it around. They were opportunistic when Seahawks receivers didn't catch the ball, or Russell Wilson maybe didn't make the best decisions. But looking at what else the Packers defense did today, Jimmy Graham, one catch, 16 yards. I'm willing to bet, I don't know this, but if you go to ESPN, Yahoo, CBS, I would bet that Jimmy Graham was either number 1 or number 2 in terms of tight end rankings this year. Or this week, excuse me.
Yeah, I remember seeing they had a Madden simulation on this game, and they said the Seahawks were going to win by like 2 points. And Jimmy Graham was having a big game, like 7 catches for 70-some yards and 2 touchdowns. So to put up 1 catch for 16 yards on only 4 targets, it's huge. It's huge. The defense played well, like we said. A lot of QB hits, a lot of pressure on Russell Wilson to make some throws that he doesn't usually make, but was forced to because of the pressure in his face. He has to throw them when he doesn't want to. He was very uncomfortable in the pocket, and that is something that really helps the Packers in the long run.
Absolutely. Definitely, we definitely missed out on bringing Packers updates and talking about the Packers, but well worth the wait. I guess we were just waiting to do an episode until they started to play well, because after 4 straight losses, they're on a 3-game winning streak. I'm optimistic that they're going to make it a 6-game winning streak by year's end. The Packers will make the playoffs. It doesn't really matter how you're playing early in the year, as long as you finish strong and get in. That's what counts.
Yeah. we were talking about Aaron Rodgers a little bit. I'm just going to touch on one thing. Everyone was bashing him on his ratings and stuff. His rating today, his passer rating today was 150.8, 77.2 QBR, compared to Russell Wilson's 23.3. So, I mean, dissecting word of the day, Aaron Rodgers has been an animal these last 3 games. Does he climb back into the MVP race?
I'm glad
he might not be the top one.
Exactly.
But I think he put his name back in that conversation.
With the way that Derek Carr has been playing these last couple of weeks, his team's been winning, but he hasn't been putting up the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how Tom Brady does against the league's best defense, statistically, in the Ravens. I don't think Tom Brady's going to win it. The Patriots were, 3-1 without him. And I don't think, even after how hot he started coming back from suspension, I don't think he can put up the numbers. Matthew Stafford, you have to put him in the MVP race. Obviously, you have the rookies in Dallas.
Yeah.
You have Matt Ryan, but absolutely, if Aaron Rodgers continues to play the way he has these last 3 weeks, in the next 3 weeks, and the Packers make the playoffs, there's no way you can leave him out of
top 2.
I see. I don't know about that, because that depends on how Matt Ryan and the Falcons do.
Yeah.
And it depends on how Derek Carr and the Raiders do, and it depends on how Matthew Stafford and the Lions do. Those are probably my top 3 right now, with Tom Brady being a distant 4th and Aaron Rodgers being a 5th.
Yeah. I would not put Dak Prescott in the MVP conversation. He is playing phenomenally, but he doesn't have the numbers like all the other MVPs. Ezekiel Elliott, on the other hand, definitely should be in
Dak
that.
has 19 touchdowns as of beginning of the day today, 2 interceptions, just about 3,000 yards.
I mean, I'm not saying that's bad numbers, but you look at, like you said, the Matt Ryan, the Derek Carr numbers, they're not that big. You're not putting out 3,800 yards. Let's see, Dak Prescott is ranked 17th in yards with 2,900, so he's going to have 3,000 yards by the end of the day with 19, and he just threw an interception in this game, so 19 and 3. At what I saw, currently he had like 50 yards passing, but Ezekiel Elliott already has like 90 yards rushing in the first half. So, I mean, you go back and look at the stats in the rushing. Ezekiel Elliott has over 200 yards on the next guy, and that's DeMarco Murray, who's been doing this for a while. That's 200 yards plus. He averaged 5 yards a carry, 12 touchdowns, over 100 yards a game. So, I mean, I think he's in it. Dak Prescott is not. He's up there, but he's not in the top 5. I would not put him in my top 5 for MVP. I would say yes, Tom Brady and Matt Ryan, Derek Carr, Ezekiel Elliott, and I would put Aaron Rodgers right at 5, the way he's been playing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't disagree with that. I mean, when you look at it, this is probably one of the tighter MVP races in the last couple of years. Not necessarily guys who are going to compete for the MVP, but guys who have been. If you think about if they would have had a full year, you have Tom Brady, obviously. Le'Veon Bell has been an absolute monster.
Yeah.
I think he's on pace today in one of my leagues. I just squeaked into the playoffs in one of my fantasy leagues, the 2nd seed in our fantasy league. I'm going to lose in both, it looks like. Le'Veon Bell is going to end up having more points than my entire team in one of my leagues. He put up 51, and my team was average. It was at 49 earlier today.
Yikes!
I started Russell Wilson. I thought he was going to have a decent game. I did not start Doug Baldwin. I thought it was going to be like a Russell Wilson 2 rushing touchdown and another passing touchdown kind of game. But I will take a loss in the first round of the fantasy playoffs if it means the Packers win, without a doubt, anytime.
Yeah.
So I am going out. Melvin Gordon going out today definitely hurt me. Spencer Ware, who's been great for me all year, didn't really do too much for me. Tevin Coleman, however, who was my fantasy sleeper at the beginning of the year, has really panned out for me all year. I think he was a second or third to last pick round-wise in the draft, and he's been killing it for me. But the Rob Gronkowski factor has been hurting me all year as well.
That's hurt everybody in fantasy. I drafted him, dropped him.
Oh.
He's been hurt, though.
Dropped recently? Or
Recently, yes. Not right away.
Okay, because he did have a couple of big games there when he was healthy and back. But
no, I recently dropped him, and I don't think I picked up another tight
end. Speaking of being dropped. No, just kidding. I wasn't speaking of being dropped. Lamar Jackson.
Nothing was dropped there. I did not drop the ball on that one, sir.
That's right.
That was.
You heard it here first. Back in the day. Back when it was about 90 degrees in Wisconsin.
110 down here. Yeah, everybody, if you don't know what we're talking about, go back and watch that college football.
50 to 1.
Yep. Go watch that.
You should have put your money where your mouth was, Brock.
I really should have. College football. Our first college football episode. I picked Lamar Jackson to be one of the players to watch this year. You had no idea who he was. Now the whole world knows who it was.
Like him.
You don't have to like him, but he won a Heisman.
That's right.
So it's saying something. He scored 51 touchdowns this year. 51. And last year he had 24, I think it was. So he doubles his production.
You can't win the Heisman in November. Or you don't win the Heisman in September. However the saying goes.
He did.
The Heisman was won in the first 5 or 6 games of the year, without a doubt.
Yeah. Oh, he was putting up 7 touchdowns a game.
Yeah.
Fantasy points.
You know, I texted you about it or tweeted you about it last night, but did you see that Johnny Manziel with Lamar Jackson picture? Johnny was looking
drunk,
cokeheadish. He's all tatted up. He looked greasy.
Yeah, he didn't look like he took a shower for about a week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw my Snapchat last night. I was out and about.
Well, I was not. You didn't look even anything like him.
In real life, you only got the profile view. If you seen him front on, he's like, that kind of looks like Johnny. Kinda.
Didn't you send a Snapchat of Johnny last year, though, from a Duke game?
No. He was at the gym.
Basketball.
He was at the gym.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, same guy. It was the same guy.
Oh, yeah. But Lamar Jackson took on the Heisman. Other awards, a lot of Alabama awards.
A lot of Big Ten. Well, Big Ten honors. Big Ten honors, I'll say. Like a conference.
I was disappointed not to see T.J. Watt, Jack Sitchy, or Vince Beagle get any national love. I haven't seen the complete All-American teams, but the ones that were announced the other day,
you at least got to put
all 3 of those linebackers are All-American, first, second, or third team quality.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they just don't get the recognition. They were never getting the love before Penn State. They're like, oh, Wisconsin wins this Penn State game, they're not making the playoffs. They shouldn't make the playoffs. Like, why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they? They won. They beat teams. They took Ohio State to the wire. They took Michigan to the wire. The 2 games that we lost were heartbreakers. They weren't like we lost on a bad game.
3 games that we
Three
lost
games,
were
yeah.
heartbreakers. That Penn State-Wisconsin game was, to say the least, the tale of two halves.
Oh, definitely.
I will say I officially have a least favorite player in Big Ten Conference.
Oh, is it?
In home run swinging Trace McSorley.
Swarley.
Yeah, I was saying I thought of Dylan Hewsome when that happened because it was
Swarls.
And yes,
How I Met Your Mother reference. If you don't know.
Yes, Saquon Barkley was bottled up for the most part. And Badgers fans and everybody knew this. The weakness of the Badgers on defense is their secondary. They're opportunistic, so they get a lot of turnovers, but they're small.
Yes.
And they were, in the second half, they were, to say the least, embarrassed by Penn State. What I will say, though, looking at some of the draft rankings, it's never too early to look at the draft.
No.
Personally, one of my top 2 or 3 sports moments of the year is the NFL draft. Both Dare Ogunbowale, a show favorite,
yes,
and Corey Clement are both ranked in the top. From the one that I saw, I believe it was from Draft Countdown or one of the other ones. Both in the top 20 running backs. Now, it might not seem like top 20 running backs, but when you think about it, especially the way that running backs have become more relevant these last 2 years draft-wise, both of those guys are going to be on NFL rosters at the very least in training camp, if not to begin the season next year. Corey Clement, without a doubt, in my mind, is going to be on an NFL roster. Dario Ogunbowale, with his versatility, I think if I was a betting man, he's on an NFL roster to begin the season.
Yeah, I could definitely see Corey Clement maybe going in like the 5th round.
I think
fifth.
He's predicted to go a little bit even higher. I mean,
he's a good talent. It's just a lot of people have running backs right now. You look at a couple teams who's in really dire need of a running back. It's hard to. You could see the Lions.
Yeah.
They don't have a star.
Theo Riddick, when healthy, is a starting caliber running back.
He's more of like a Darren Sproles. He's more like a Darren Sproles. That's what Theo Riddick is.
But he's not bigger, which makes him a better runner, though. Let me ask you this: from those same websites, from 2 weeks ago, so two wins ago, so Packers had a better draft spot. Predictions were November 24th. There we go. November 24th is from this mock draft. Packers select with the 12th pick overall out of Florida State, running back Dalvin Cook. If that was the case, one, what are your thoughts on it from from looking at it from a needs, from a fit, or what are your thoughts on the pick in general? I can tell you who was picked, who was still on the board, but what are your thoughts just on the outset if you think Dalvin Cook to the Packers at number 12?
Honestly, I don't know if I would take him. I like him as a talent, but I don't think he fits what we're trying to do. And even if you look at that, say Eddie's gone at the end of this year, which he very well could be. Ty Montgomery has stepped into a role which is like the same that Dalvin Cook would do. So you're not really benefiting from drafting him, really. Because I think next year Ty Montgomery will be in the backfield with Christian Michael. I think we bring him back next year. I would like to see him back next year. And I just don't think Dalvin Cook would really benefit the team moving forward.
The thing for it to me is the Packers need more on the defensive side of the ball than they need a running back. Let me tell you this. let's see, Jalen or Tease Tabor, Florida, picked. Now I know going into the year we were saying the Packers are really deep at cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
This year, when even healthy, Quentin Rollins and Demarius Randall have both had their struggles.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at it.
Sophomore slump, maybe?
Yeah. This would be my pick. At 15 going to the Colts, this draft would have Tim Williams, outside linebacker, Alabama.
Oh, any linebacker from Alabama.
Derek Barnett, defensive end, Tennessee, could easily play outside linebacker in a 3-4. Let's see. Tight end, O.J. Howard. I wouldn't be mad if the Packers picked him. Maybe not at 12. Don't get me wrong.
Second round, maybe?
Desmond King from Iowa. I know he was the defensive back player of the year last year in college. Reuben Foster, inside linebacker, Alabama.
I would pick him. To be honest, Reuben Foster. I knew the name. I knew he's from Alabama. He won linebacker of the year this year.
Yes.
So if he would fall to, say, we get 22nd pick, I would be more than happy if he somehow fell to us.
I will say, looking at the mock draft, there is one Badgers player going in the first round. If you had to take a guess, could you guess?
Is it defensive?
No.
I don't know.
Ryan Ramczyk.
Figured lineman.
Carlos and I were talking about this the other day. The Badgers offensive line, extremely young. Ryan Ramczyk is the oldest. I believe he's just he's a true junior. Other than that, no one older than a redshirt sophomore on the Badgers. So, what are your thoughts about the bowl game matchup against Western Michigan?
I don't really know, to be honest. I have not seen anything on Western Michigan. Don't know anything about them. I mean, they haven't played anybody really, have they?
No. However, there's one thing that worries me. One of the best wide receivers in the entire country plays for Western Michigan. And he's not one of the best because he's going against poor competition. He would be the best receiver on 90% of teams in college football. And that's Corey Davis. He is an electric receiver. Zach Terrell, the quarterback for Western Michigan, is experienced. But I expect the Badgers to win by at least 20 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think because it is a smaller school, I would just assume we win the war in the trenches, both sides of the football, just because of the size, especially our offensive line. They're young, but they're big. We have a big offensive line, so you look at it like that. I think we should take care of business.
Absolutely. Other than that, the playoffs. Looking back from prior to the season, I do believe we both had Alabama. Let's see if I can find them in my notes here. I know we both had Alabama. I believe you had...
Yeah, I got it right here. Hang on.
Oh, yeah, both of us, or just you?
I just have me.
There you
go.
I believe you had Stanford.
Yes, I do. I did have Stanford. They had a down year. It was a rebuild year, I guess you could say.
They still ended up finishing really. I mean, they didn't live up to expectations, but they still finished with a very decent season.
Yeah, they had a young team, especially quarterback and offensive line. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, I had Ohio State, Florida State, Oklahoma, and Stanford. I did not have Alabama. I did not have Alabama.
Wow.
But the one thing I did pick is Ohio State making the Final Four and not winning the Big Ten.
I do believe I picked the Badgers to finish 9-3 this year.
I think you did.
I
Had them winning.
I was one of the few people. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, I had Alabama, Clemson, Michigan.
I think no. You know who you picked? You picked Houston.
Houston. Yes, they let me down. Speaking of Houston, the kicking it old school with some NCAA 14 terminology. The coaching carousel so far this offseason.
Already.
Between all of the reported so-and-so is hired by this that you've seen on like ESPN to what really happens. First you heard Tom Herman agrees with LSU. They end up going with Ed Orgeron. Then you hear Texas is close to hiring Lane Kiffin as a head coach. Then they go with, then you hear, Herman to LSU. Then he goes to Texas instead. And then you hear Houston's close to hiring Lane Kiffin. And then they hire Texas's offensive coordinator. Now we're hearing Lane Kiffin is close to a deal with Florida Atlantic.
Yeah. Why?
Willie Taggart from South Florida, who had a really, really good year. One of Jordan Polk's actually upset picks. I believe he got that one correct early in the season. Yeah. Head coach of Oregon. Went from South Florida. South Florida recently just hired Charlie Strong from Texas. So it has been Purdue hired. Who did Purdue hire?
Oh, they signed some. Who did?
Anyway, Les Miles was rumored to be going for Purdue for the longest time.
Yeah.
They hired someone, Luke Fickell, who was the head coach after Jim Tressel left Ohio State for that. That season was hired by Cincinnati. He was Ohio State's defensive coordinator. So the coaching carousel so far in the college football offseason has been an exciting one so far. Purdue hired Jeff Brom, who is Western Kentucky's head coach, I believe.
That's right.
Not Brian Brom, former Packers great quarterback, but Jeff Brom.
Yeah, great.
Yes. So it has
all
definitely been an interesting offseason so far.
It's not even offseason. They still got.
That's true.
They still got the bowl season.
You know what we need to do? We need to create a Jock Talk Bowl Mania on ESPN.com. We will get the link tweeted out. I'll see if we can't do that before. I have tomorrow off, so we'll see if we can't do that tomorrow. Do our bowl picks. Post the links to the Twitter page and go about it that way. But what else do we got, Brock? It's been a while.
It has. We can just touch a little bit on everything real quick. I know we got a little bit of time left. The Milwaukee Bucks. What's your thoughts on them so far? I know it's been a roller coaster ride early in the season.
I am, despite their inability to close games against very good teams, I am pleased with the Bucks so far. Jason Kidd has, excuse my language, YouTube won't like this, but has gotten his head out of his ass more so these last couple of games. John Henson in the starting lineup. Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the top 5 players in the NBA so far in this early season. If you don't agree with that, then you can argue top 10. If you go anything outside of top 10, I will scissor kick you. But Jabari Parker, the combination of Jabari Parker and Giannis Antetokounmpo, top 5 duos in the NBA so far this young season. I mentioned Jason Kidd. He's just been a bad coach so far this season with 1 day Jason Terry, the 40-year-old wonder, will get 20 minutes. The next day he'll get none, and those minutes will go to Rashad Vaughn when he can't make a shot to save his life, and Miles Plumlee, who was great in the starting lineup, inserted late last season, has been getting nothing for minutes after signing a big contract, and then Mirza Teletovic, 1 game will get 30 minutes, the next he'll get 5, and he's been tinkering too much with his rotation.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. It seemed like every time that I seen the Bucks play, it was somebody new playing. Like, why? Like you said, why is Jason Terry playing today and scoring a bunch of points and then doesn't play for the next 3 games?
Him I can understand more so than others, just because he's old and he needs breaks.
Yeah,
but he's getting too many minutes per game that could go to younger guys who can influence the game just as much.
Yeah. I think Giannis is one of the brightest stars, young stars. He's 22. 22.
If that doesn't make you feel shitty about yourself, I don't know what will.
It really does. It really does. He's 22. It's just ridiculous what he has been doing.
Yeah. Russell Westbrook has been on an absolute tear.
His
streak of triple doubles ended today, even with putting up, I believe it was 36 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists or something insane. James Harden has been a offensive machine, not just scoring the ball, but passing the ball.
Yeah.
Andre Drummond has, I believe, 4 games this year, but 20 points and 20-plus rebounds. The rest of the league has, 3 combined. Klay Thompson going off for 60 the other day.
LeBron being the only player with 25,000 points or 20,000 points, 7,000 assists, and 7,000 rebounds. It's a crazy NBA season so far. The Warriors starting off slow.
Picking it up,
and then losing a blowout in a blowout fashion to the Memphis Grizzlies the other night. It was like, really, the Memphis Grizzlies? That's who you're gonna lose by 20-some points? Right? It's NBA is crazy.
College basketball
is
the Badgers playing well so far.
Nigel Hayes
had a great offensive game the other day against Marquette. However, I think he's finding his groove. I think he knows he needs to do a little bit less of the jump shooting, a little bit more passing, a little bit more inside post. Ethan Happ has been a monster so far this year. Your boy Grayson Allen with the 2-handed monster slam the other day over Las Vegas.
It's UNLV. I will say Duke, even though they play 6 guys.
Well, they have a 37-year-old starting forward in Amir Jefferson.
Yeah.
He's he's 40.
You would think so.
He's been at Duke. He played with Christian Laettner, for God's sake.
He might as well have, but yeah, Duke. UCLA, I think, is one of the funnest teams to watch. Lonzo Ball has been an animal. When they upset Kentucky, that was probably that's just a big win for not just him, for UCLA and their basketball program.
Number 2 team in the country right now.
Yeah, UCLA. I feel like they're back.
I saw it on Bleacher Report actually the other day. The first time in about 15 years that the college basketball power, the classic powers, like Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, Indiana, Kentucky, and UCLA, the first time that all 6 of those teams were ranked in the top 10 in 10 years. And when you think of college basketball powerhouses,
that's who you think of right off the bat.
Exactly.
And then to top it all off, Villanova's ranked number 1.
Josh Hart, career high scoring the other day.
I mean,
37 points, and he
Ba-
had a triple-double earlier this season.
Baylor's playing well. There's a lot of teams playing well right now. Yes, it's early, but I think
the conference play here soon.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest surprises this year is Michigan State being so sorry. Like they're terrible. They're not as
look at.
they're
young.
I
know. Tom Izzo explained like their strength of schedule. These first 2 weeks, like I don't know what their overall record is, but when you look at the teams they faced.
I get it.
This isn't college football where you have to schedule a good team to make the playoff. This is like just coast and you're good.
Yeah, but I mean, with the expectations of Michigan State, you expected more. That's what I'm getting at.
And basketball.
Yeah, but you're correct. I will point out this. I'm looking at the college rankings right now, 1 through 25. Then I'm looking at the write-ins or the others receiving votes, and I look down. I'm looking through it. There's this team, UNC Wilmington, with a vote to be in the top 25. Watch out! I'm telling you, you're going to be surprised by this team when come March.
What's coach's name?
Coach Keats. Kevin Keats.
Oh yeah, he reminds me of old Andy Dick.
Why?
Get some.
That's all they're getting down here is they're getting some. They're putting in work.
Yeah.
They're playing very well. It's actually. I haven't gone to any games. Hopefully soon I will be able to. They put up 126 points the other night. I mean,
on who? University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point?
No. I don't even know the name.
UNC Upper North Coast?
No, it's Pfeiffer or something shit like that.
Pfeiffer.
Oh, they don't have any big games, but I mean they're playing very well, 8-1.
Do they play UNC similar to like how UW Milwaukee always plays just Wisconsin?
I think they have like those like closed off practices against them, but it's like the undisclosed ones.
Okay.
Because they can't do it technically as a scrimmage or organized game, but I do believe they have been here before, or they probably haven't been here. They probably went up there.
Right.
Yeah.
We do have to get back to football. Excuse me, I'm stepping out of the camera. We do got to get back to football. One of our favorite segments.
True.
The What If Sports Game of the Week. Cowboys update. Well, by the time you guys listen to this, the game will be well over. Currently, where we're at, it is 7-0 going into halftime.
Still halftime.
With the Cowboys being the best team in football this year. Who wins the big three battle? Is it Dak, Zeke, and Dez? Or is it Troy, Emmett, and Mike Irvin?
If I had to pick, I'm going old school. I think Emmett and Irvin.
I was gonna go new three, for the simple reason that Troy Aikman is part of the worst duo of a sports commentators in all of football. And I had to listen to them today for about half an hour.
He started to come and then he pulled out. He started to come and then he pulled out.
Alrighty.
God, that best videos ever. Have you seen it?
Tweet it.
I will tweet it. If you have not seen that Troy Aikman video, it is one of the best videos. Is what he actually said on live camera. He's like, he started to come and then he pulled out. I'm like, really? You couldn't have thought of any better words to say of a blitzer backing out of a blitz? Really? He started to come and then he pulled out. Like, come on.
I don't get it. What's the analogy?
It's sex, Matt.
No.
It's sex.
I get it now. All right, 2016 Dallas Cowboys, 1996 Dallas Cowboys, 20 years apart. Final score. Let's go through the box score first. How's about that?
No, go to final.
Ezekiel Elliott, 94 yards and a touchdown.
That's his average.
Emmitt Smith, 67 yards, no touchdown.
Ooh.
But 1996 Dallas Cowboys 10. 2016 Dallas Cowboys 16.
Oh, wow.
New school takes down old school. Player of the game, Ezekiel Elliott. It was a Dan Bailey 3 field goal kind of day. Troy Aikman, a pedestrian 11-24, 161 yards. His mother should have pulled out.
Oh. You mean father, but whatever.
No, I meant mother.
Oh, all right.
Say what I mean, and I mean what I say.
Heard.
That's right. That's right. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But
about that time.
Back. We're gonna be back for weekly episodes.
Hopefully.
We will make our schedules match. You know, Brock's been working his doubles. I've been working my weekends. Big things coming from the Jock Talk fellas.
Yeah, big things. Maybe a name change.
We are in the process of discussing. Follow us on Twitter at Jock Talk WINC. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let us know. Do we need a name change? Are you guys having troubles finding us on YouTube? I know when you search Jock Talk, there's a weird European guy doing sit-ups. We don't want that. So.
Dos. That's Spanish. Fuck.
I thought that's where you're going at first. But like I said, follow us on Twitter. Let us know if you have any comments, if you have any disagreements with us. We like to we like the friendly arguments and banter. AKA we like to prove why we're wrong and you guys are wronger. Why we're right. There we go.
Yikes. I don't know how to wipe my ass.
Otherwise, with that, Brock, you got anything else?
You ugly. You your daddy's son.
That sounded like a guy I helped at work today. Anyways, with that, we will talk to you guys next week. Brock, have a good night. I'll see you guys.